Well, folks, it looks like the Vigilante racing team's been through it all this season. Out there in the SCORE World Desert Championship, these boys from Bozeman, Montana have had their fair share of ups and downs. From a quiet Montana town to the fiercest battleground. They're racing hard, raising dust, hopping dunes like a coyote on a hot trail. Now they're headed for the big one, the Baja 1000. It's gonna take guts, grit, and a whole lot of horsepower. So stay tuned, because you don't want to miss what's gonna happen next.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how.
We'll return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Baja 1000. That's something that you say to anyone, and there's a point in their time or a point in their life that they remember when they first heard about the Baja 1000. And for me, it was when I was a kid. I was probably 10, 12 years old. We lived on a ranch. My dad worked as a ranch hand. And I remember seeing something on TV about a guy named Iron Man Ivan Stewart, and there was a clip of him racing a truck through the desert.
List of achievements in the desert with 80 trips to the winner's circle.
It was, flying 100 miles an hour, and it was rough, and I remember thinking to myself, that is probably the coolest thing you could ever do. Every time I got a hold of a ranch truck or anything, I started driving it like I was in the Baja 1000. It really did affect me. Ever since then, I'd be driving the truck for Dad while he's feeding cows, and I'd be thinking about, I want to jump this ditch. I want to see how fast we can go down this dirt road. And back then, that was our fun. We lived in a very small, quite remote town. Racing an unlimited trophy truck felt impossible. Well, I could go call one of these teams, but they're never going to let somebody drive their truck. It was somewhat devastating. So I was like, it can't be that hard. It can't be that impossible. That's something that was a huge challenge for me to overcome, was my own self-doubt. And so I set out in my life to achieve goals and to achieve security for my family and achieve some financial stability. It is always in the back of my mind, I wanted to be in a trophy truck. In 2005 maybe, or 2006, I had a buddy that built a team, and they raced a dirt bike in the Baja 1000. When they got back from that trip, all I wanted to hear was all the stories, tell me every possible thing about racing. I had not been anywhere near a Baja event. I was so just beside myself just to go down and see and experience and actually, for my first time, get to look at a trophy truck in person. We walked around, we took pictures of the trucks, and not to be left out of that experience, I have pictures that I took of Todd Wyllie and RJ Stidham racing in their truck going off the starting line. That was 2007. I was going through a real tough time. I think a lot of the country went through a real tough time financially. I started to build a real estate development company and got wiped out. It was the toughest time in my life. People say, you can lose your business, you can lose everything you've built in this world, but you can't lose your experience. And that's exactly how we rebuilt and started over. There's no question in my life, there was, several times I'm like, well, it's just too late. It isn't too late. I started this whole adventure in my 50s. It was probably 12, 13 years after I was in Baja where I was actually able to stand in Craig Potts' garage and look at a trophy truck and say, man, we can buy this thing, let's give it a try. Never forget the first time strapping in that thing. My goal was to get to Baja, but I wanted to race in the US. I wanted to get our team going. I wanted to get our momentum, our energy, get dialed in this truck. So we wanted to be ready for Parker because we were going to run, the Unlimited series, and the motor wasn't ready. Parts and things were just not ready. And so finally, I get the green light, the motor's done, the motor's ready. I'm like, well, what's the next race on the agenda? Sounds like we're going to Mexico. I always expected to be competitive, but I also was expecting to get a real wake-up call. And I think both things happened. But that's when I knew we were not way out of our league here. We can be competitive. we can run. And then at the 500, we had a really good run. We were 430 or 40 miles of 500 and sitting in top 5. We were running so good, and it didn't work out. Coming back for the 400 was really tough. It was nowhere near what we could do, but we had a clean run and we finished.
We were debating on pulling the plug because we still had no motor. We didn't know when we were going to get it and what was going on.
The race is in 10 days. And we don't even have our motor in the race truck yet. I think I gotta pull a plug. This just isn't coming together. I had tickets to go to Phoenix, and I packed my stuff as if I was going racing. I went and got the motor. We drove it to RJ's, and RJ sent me a picture of the motor in the truck. And I was like, this guy is an absolute superhero, like just an absolute machine.
I think I got in late Monday night, showed up Tuesday, ended up getting the motor over to my house almost 9 o'clock on Tuesday night. We stayed up that night, put the motor in, at least got it set in the truck, put the gears in late Thursday night. We had to cram pretty much the whole truck into 2 days. So left a couple days late, and kind of last minute getting everything together, but we got the truck together and made it down there.
First thing Saturday morning or pre-run. Otherwise, you're still wasting 5 hours in your truck.
You guys drop it off and then leave the truck and and then Nick bring the truck down. Just to...
We call Ray, we're like, Ray, qualifying is Tuesday. Is there any way you can dyno this truck for us? And Ray's like, bring it over, I'll make it happen.
I'll run over and open the gate. Huge shout out to Ray for doing that for us.
1000, you know, it's an absolute luxury. Look at this fan been ever since I was. So the water pressure is good, the cooling system is real proper, inverter temps, trans. So we leave Ray's on Saturday afternoon. And we don't get down to the house in Ensenada until really late.
Pictures of that truck in the ocean.
No. The map got released, and Tracy calls me and says, "Hey, I want to finish the race."
If I'm gonna race in the Baja 1000, I'm gonna race at night, and I'm gonna cross the finish line. I'm like, RJ, I know you're a hell of a driver, and I trust all of that. You're gonna start the race. You've run this first section with me twice.
I've co-drove in the 1000 quite a few times. This will be my first time driving. Being able to qualify and start the 1000 in a trophy truck is probably one of the coolest things you ever do. I don't know many people who've done it. And to get the chance to do that's really, really awesome.
And Nick Whetstone, Nick's a hell of a driver. He drives a G6 Unlimited truck, just like mine.
So Baja 1000, it all started, we raced a few races with Tracy, and then, we've been catching up, and we've been over to Montana to check out what he's up to, and kind of become friends through the process. Baja 1000 is the pinnacle of off-road. That's where the big dogs come to play, and so you want to run with the big dogs, then you gotta walk the walk. Big opportunity for me, and something I couldn't turn down.
Nick's section was really tough, technical. And we needed him to get us from mile marker 200 to mile marker 600. The other beauty of my section is that it was all race course. I had raced multiple times throughout the year. I was feeling, confident. I was feeling real confident. I was feeling really good about my section, and I was excited to race at night. And a big reason I was excited to race at night is Baja Designs Shoutout. You fire that truck up at night and you turn both those light bars on, it's daytime. I couldn't wait.
So I brought my race truck down, we head out, and our plan was to do our whole section every day. Day one, we run down, run the beginning section, get down to the coast. Run all the way down the coast to mile 210, 215-ish where we get out. Truck's running great.
We almost smoked the quad out there, but other than that, pretty good.
Everything's going really good. We're about 3 miles from the end of our section and blew the motor up.
What happened?
There's a little hole in the side of the motor. By little, I mean about that big.
I made some phone calls to the States, located another motor. Other than that, everything's there.
I had heard, you know, on the radio that RJ had blown his motor, and I was like, damn, you know. But he knows his section, he knows his course. He got a full run in.
Rum, rum. I was trying to help you guys out with the motor noise.
I get back to the house and I pull into the driveway, and there's a LS3 sitting on the sidewalk. Apparently he's put a new motor in that truck tonight. I went over and talked to Todd, and Todd's like, I told him not to do it too.
That's what it was?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's catastrophic. I mean, that's why I don't...
And now it's qualifying day.
Super excited to qualify. Pretty much my first time really driving the truck was in qualifying.
So we set RJ up. Got him ready to go, and he fires up, and he goes and runs his sight lap.
Sight lap felt good. Everything felt really good.
I'm gonna just put a little pepper on that, and you're gonna have a dynamite run. He's really hanging it out there on every corner, and I'm just watching the tires spin and the dust fly.
I felt pretty good about it.
Got really chewed up out there from the practice lap. Another 30 trucks hitting it after us. It was definitely a lot deeper, a lot slippier than it was before.
Like I said, everything felt good. It's just there was 3 corners that I really could have.
Into qualifying, I told Tracy, I said, yeah, and I had a really hard time on the last straightaway keeping the truck straight.
Yeah, I think that...
We had a little miscommunication on fuel.
33? Yeah, we got it.
We qualified with 15 gallons of fuel and no spare tires.
The tank was empty.
At the end of the 400, we thought there was more fuel in it after, and we scrambled last minute to get the truck together, so we had no time to test, and we Yeah, we ended up almost running out of fuel in qualifying.
Can you imagine we ran out of fuel in qualifying? I'm surprised he didn't, end up upside down somewhere,
We ended up, I want to say 15th in class.
Yeah, it was like 15th or 16th.
Yeah, and then second two-wheel drive trophy truck again, which we've done all year long.
If you're starting the Baja 1000 and you're in the top 15, that means you've probably got clean air and you can, the race is yours to run.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I mean, now we just gotta, run a clean run, clean this bitch. All right, man. Well, good job. We'll go rip it out and see a little bit.
That's leaking right there. We better roll it over so we get some goop in there. This right here is real high-tech racer goop. Only best.
It's out all over the place. Oh. Yeah, when we were boondocking out there, we freestyled all over the place out there, and I think we just picked up a bunch of cactus. We're done. We're not going to get any pre-running in because we can't even, as soon as I leave the truck, we're going to be flat.
So we went down, got the truck through tech, and RJ went out and pre-ran his section in his race truck.
We've arrived.
So after we got through tech, I jumped in the chase truck with his race truck on the trailer and ran half of my section. That was amazing.
It's gonna work good. I mean, I don't fit, but enough. I fit enough. Damn, boy. That's a big ass boy. One flat and 2 P brakes. How long were we gone? let's start. Let's just start with this with the starting line.
I want this stop to be as fast as fucking possible. If someone's messing with the drinkers, you're not gonna be able to buckle quick. You'll have fuel in here, and then you won't stop again up here.
We had our plan. Everybody knew what they were gonna do.
And you can radio any fine-tuned details.
We're estimating I'm gonna get in the truck at 10 o'clock at night. So yeah, I was really nervous.
Okay.
There's a few miscellaneous people running around out there.
A lot has to go right for me to even get in this truck. And it's race day. I was sitting there and I was like, I gotta call my mom. And so I picked up my phone and I called my mom and she's like, hey, what's up? And I said, Mom, we've come a long way since being that kid on the ranch, driving that truck with the hay bales on it and Dad feeding hay off the back, living on nothing. I'm sitting here right now and I said, Mom, I'm getting ready to run the Baja 1000. I just gotta say thank you. Thank you for always being supportive. And my dad especially, and I wish he was alive, but from the bottom of her heart, I could feel it in her voice, She was like, well, you deserve it. She's like, you've worked so hard. And I know how hard you struggled. And a lot of times that's all I need, It was one of those moments in my life I will never forget.
So we take off, and little different truck driving with a full tank of gas and 2 spares.
They take off, we go up just before Ojos, we get up to the flats there and we pull in. By and we're running stopwatches just to give them pace and how they're doing, and RJ was right on pace.
Hey, you're right on time, doing exactly what you need to do. About 5 miles after we leave Tracy, the brake pedal starts fading. And all of a sudden it's just going to the floor and I have no brakes.
I hear him on the radio say, we have no brakes. And my heart sunk. I'm like, what?
So I radio Tracy, hey, is there any way you can get in here and we can look at it, maybe diagnose it, something we can fix?
This is the first 30 miles of the Baja 1000, so all of the spec trucks are on their way, the class 1s are on their way, the last of the trophy trucks are on their way. And we jump out, and Huntsinger dives under the back of the truck.
The O-rings blew out of the calipers on both rear calipers.
Seals are gone. You got no rear brakes. So I'm like, RJ, we don't have calipers, but Todd does. And he's 35 miles from here.
When you get to Todd, you plug the line. Todd's right in front of you. All right, you
got no fucking brakes at all. See, you're probably better off driving to them.
Okay, yeah.
Here. Let's get you to them. If you can
have them turn, have my.
And I'm like, can you get to him? And RJ's like, absolutely, I can get to him. I'm like, go.
I run the brake bias, all front brakes. Looks like we're driving no brakes to 80. Heading over the mountain pass with no rear brakes. You really have to baby it going into corners. And we get to 80. Todd, Wyllie, they're all sitting there ready to go. They knew exactly what they needed. They're changing calipers. Todd's up there bleeding the master cylinders out. And I want to say it was an 11-minute stop. We got new calipers and we're on the road.
Well, we're trying to deal with our nerves here. We've just replaced 2 brake calipers and got the truck back on the road. Lost probably 20-30 minutes, but we're back at race pace again, and we stopped in the valley to get some of the best tacos in all of Baja. So that's better.
Let's go.
So when we leave, a couple spec trucks had now gotten by us. We're running good now, though. I mean, that truck's rocking. The rest of my section was awesome. You gotta open it up, 120, 130 mile an hour, just flying.
So we started in San Quintin. That San Quintin section, which was about 100 miles, was just super, super technical and rocky.
Not yet. Not yet. I'll let you know when it goes off.
Nick jumps in the truck and Nick takes off.
Oh, 100.
Went mile 320 to 375. That was really tight, in and out of the trees, but there was some fast stuff, and then we came into the silt beds, and you know, that's kind of that was a risky ordeal getting in there, but we managed to get through pretty well.
He flatted pretty quick, and they got a tire. They got a tire changed, but they didn't get the jack all the way up, and they ended up breaking a jack off. Let me say that a different way. They ended up breaking off one of the jacks, and when they got that flat, someone got into the back of them and folded the dry brake. So now stabbing fuel at the next pit was going to be a problem. I'm all the way up at race mile 600, you know, just clicking the refresh, clicking the refresh. Then we get a message. Nick thinks he's losing power steering.
78 copy, Matt.
I hope not. Nope.
Lid's coming off and staying off.
And so they slid into about race mile 370. Rick dives in there, takes a real cursory look around, just looks at it. He's like, I think it's gonna need a pump. We can't do that till like race mile 380. And we don't want to go over the tractor trail. Last place in the world you want to lose power steering. So Todd Wyllie and RJ met that truck at race mile 380. RJ very smartly dives underneath the truck. He's having him work the wheel, and what Nick was explaining versus what was being relayed by his co-driver wasn't adding up. If he's starting to lose power steering, he's going to lose it. He's working the wheel, and he sees all the silt and all the dirt and all the gunk and everything and mud is just slammed, just crammed into the power steering rack. And so he didn't lose power steering, he lost the range of motion. So RJ grabbed the electric grease gun, got underneath there, and just started, just locked it wide open and just started pumping grease in it. And so what we thought was gonna be an hour and a half stop ended up being 10 minutes. And he goes, the dry brake's bent, and it's bent bad. We can fix it at the next pit, race mile like 420. Nick just fought. He fought hard.
Had, you know, a bunch of silt come up over the hood and actually block the air cleaner for a little bit, which is why we had to stop.
Yeah, beat the shit out of him on a fuel truck. Now good.
Let's get it back on with what was the plan.
We can brake cleaner and just spray some oil on it.
Racing at night's different, and especially at race pace.
San Felipe is kind of where the fun and games began.
We're not getting any updates. We're getting nothing. And I'm refresh. Nick stops. I'm like, it's probably a flat. But he was stopped for a while because a flat should be a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
I nosed it into a ditch and we bent the front bumper into the tires. We actually had to get out, pull the front bumper off. We saved the light bar, and Connor, my co-rider, had the light bar in his lap for 100 miles through San Felipe whoops.
We get in contact again. And they're like, yeah, and they tell us, the co-driver tells us they ripped the bumper off. You know, the countdown came, and now we've got the whole team is there.
We're sitting in this spot right here for 12 hours, or fucking doing what you guys been doing.
So now it's time, right? Now I'm seeing the race, the leaders coming through, and I'm starting to get real anxious.
Stop. Let's go for 20 miles. Stop. We've had a lot of bad things happen, but we've had some good things. So we're moving. We're moving.
And it all just kind of came to me. I'm about to race the Baja 1000 in an unlimited trophy truck. They come sliding in. Get the light bar out, get Nick out. I jump in, get belted in, get all set up. We took off. Let's bring her home.
It bent the front bumper and hit the tires. Yeah.
Good steer.
There was a big ditch and we just went full and nose into the ditch. And then unbolted the lights because they're good money, and he held the lights through the whoops for 100 miles.
Good job, boys.
We rip out a mile marker 660, and then we just stood on. It was incredible. You know, I'm getting to do something in my life that I wanted to do my whole life, and it's something that actually truly just I absolutely love to do. There was a few times that I had no clue where we were. I mean, I was like, I don't recognize this. I don't know where I'm at. You know, I'm just racing as hard as I can. Got to the highway and speed zone.
This is them.
And the entire crew was sitting there.
The last 50 miles, it just was a mud bath for them guys. They were soaked and truck covered in mud.
Race 78 has crossed the finish line.
We radioed that, you know, we tripped the lights, we finished the Baja 1000. And everybody's like, all right, we'll see you down at the ceremonial finish in town. Yeah, I'd have to admit, the tears were running down my face. I just took the whole moment in.
Baja threw everything at us.
If you can finish and you can beat Baja, that's a win in itself.
To go down and your first time ever being in Mexico to finish every mile, that's a huge accomplishment.
It's not too late to go after your goals. Go race Baja. Just go down there racing. It'll be one of the most incredible experiences of your life.
The Baja doesn't give out trophies. It takes your blood, sweat, and steel. But Tracy, RJ, and Nick weren't about to back down. Through punishing terrain, brutal setbacks, and sleepless nights, when the dust settled on the season, Vigilante Racing stood tall. 5th place in the Score International Series. Not bad for some small-town racers out of Montana. But don't think for a second this is where the story ends. This is just the beginning.